This is Ivan Bloodbath from 1985, and he's a wizard from the USSR. He's actually a very impressive looking, well dressed wizard with his tall Cossack hat. Imposing, really. The US President Reagan had just given the Evil Empire speech 2 years before, and Better Red Than Dead was almost an American anthem. So this was like the height of the Cold War. Despite that, I thought that there's a lot of respect shown for this stereotype of a Russian general type with medals on his chest. I think this wizard's walking stick is a hockey stick. Hockey and the Olympics were all part of the Cold War, so this is a nice touch. As with all true wizards, he has a familiar with him, but I'm not sure whether it's a fox or a wolf pup, or even a bear cub. I just looked this up, and I think this familiar is actually a sable, a small mammal that was used for fur coats. Looking carefully at the bottom of Ivan's fur coat, we can see that at least 24 sables were needed for this coat. So, familiar, beware. I would say that the Illusionist from 1985 sticks out in my collection as the only Oriental Asian figure I own. I remember that in 1985, just like with the Russians, China still didn't have much contact with the West. I grew up as a huge fan of the TV show Monkey Magic, which was shown all the time on the BBC. But even though this was about one of China's old classics from the 16th century, it was made in Japan, so there's very little came out of China at that time. If it did, it was made by other countries. This wizard is overweight, portly, but is elegant and looks ready for action. To me, this wizard's face and body looks very Western. I wonder if this man spent his adventures in the Far East and learnt spells and traditions from Asian magicians. Although he's called the Illusionist, I would take him seriously for his magic and his wisdom. This figure is called Wizard with a Submachine Gun and is another 1985 miniature. I don't like mixing my fantasy games, so this one makes me tut. There was a dungeon module I remember called Expedition to the Barrier Peaks, which I did think was brilliant, but the sci-fi element didn't sit well with me. I didn't like the idea of my players running around future dungeons with laser pistols and robots they'd found here. I absolutely loved playing Traveller. To me, it was the best sci-fi RPG there was, but I like to keep them separate. I feel like this is a stereotypical black wizard. There were the gang wars in Los Angeles at this time, and in the UK we had the violent Jamaican Yardies, and so I think this reflects those times in the mid-1980s. And that's why I think it's good that there are more positive stereotypes today, and I would love to have a Jamaican Usain Bolt wizard.